If only when people communicated, they communicated in a fair and decent and clear and direct way, right? Wouldn't that make life so much easier? You are probably like many other people who have found yourself at some points in your life trying to figure out some of the people around you, trying to figure out what did they really mean? What were they really trying to say? Or why did they do that? This is something that happens to a lot of people in relationships because a lot of people haven't yet learned how to communicate in a way that's really respectful and truly collaborative in a relationship. Again, doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is. This is an issue that impacts all different types of relationships. So here's what I want to talk about today. When somebody uses humor, but they actually use the humor to deliver remarks that are hurtful or critical. They may even be mean. So, in this situation, somebody says something to you and maybe you feel like, ouch, that was really mean, or that was really hurtful. That was so critical and so pointed. Sometimes in these situations, you may feel like somebody used information that they have about you, and they, in this moment when they were joking, so to speak, that they used that information against you. You may feel like they turned on you in that moment. And when people are joking, they're often laughing or smiling. So it's very confusing to be on the receiving end of this behavior. Someone is laughing or joking, but actually saying something that makes you feel bad. Obviously, there's a disconnect there. And a lot of times, if this is you and you're in this situation, you're left feeling bad, maybe a little angry, but probably more than anything else, you're left feeling confused. Why do people do this? Why do people sometimes use humor, use a joke, but then actually do it and say something mean, hurtful, or critical? That's what I'm going to talk about. I'm Dr. Seth, psychologist. So, to begin, one of the main reasons why somebody jokes really hides under the shield of humor or a joke, one of the main reasons why they do this is because they want to express hostility towards you. They want to offload some hostility or some negative feelings that they have, but they don't want to be held accountable for it. They don't want to be responsible for why they said it. So it was just a joke. Another reason why somebody may do this behavior is they may be trying to test boundaries. They may be really trying to see what they can get away with. And of course, this is a really negative sign in a relationship. So if you're on the receiving end of this sense that somebody is testing you, trying to gauge what they can get away with, it's something really you need to take note of. Now, that reason is actually related to another reason. And, some of these reasons are pretty disturbing and upsetting if we really think about them. The next reason is because it is a control move. They will sometimes use humor in this way to throw you off balance, to make you nervous, to make you question yourself. Sometimes a person, if they have really sort of malicious motives and really feel threatened by you in some way, they may actually say things to undo your sense of confidence because maybe they think that you look a little bit too happy or you're acting a little bit too confident, like you like yourself too much. So, using humor in this way to really deliver mean or critical comments and make you feel bad, this can actually be a control move. The next reason we don't need to spend a lot of time on because it's really self explanatory, but sometimes a person could engage in this behavior because it's simply a learned behavior. It is a behavior that they have learned to do over time that is probably not personal to you. You're probably not the only person that they do this with. They may have done this with people for as many years as anyone could count. It's that ingrained into who they are. And a lot of times, for any of our learned behaviors, a lot of times we learned it in the home that we came from, or it could be a social group of people that somebody is friends with or close to. They could have learned this behavior in a group of people like that. And then finally, the fifth reason that I want to go over is one of the most common. And I think that it's reasonable to start with this one and ask yourself, if you're on the receiving end of somebody using humor in this way, you can start with this reason and ask yourself, do you think this reason is the reason that applies to them? Is this why they're doing this with you? And that reason has to do with someone just being uncomfortable with honesty, just uncomfortable with honestly communicating in a very direct way how the person truly feels. So, a lot of people are not comfortable expressing anger or maybe resentments that they have developed in a relationship. And so they don't feel comfortable to just address a problem, to confront an issue in a head on way, perhaps with you. So, a natural way that a lot of people figure out to try to express that is to do it through humor. And while, of course, this is not the ideal and this is not a good way for people to interact in relationships, just understanding that that may be one of the reasons can help you if you're on the receiving end of this behavior. I hope outlining these reasons has been helpful to you. Reflect, take inventory on each one and ask yourself whether it fits. And ultimately, you can go to the person in a gentle way and ask, hey, I wanted to just run this by you. I know this has been happening where sometimes you make jokes about things that don't feel like jokes. And I was wondering if we could talk about it. All right. I'm Dr. Seth, psychologist. Hopefully, you may find some other videos on my channel here, Dr. Seth Psychologist, helpful for you. Have a good one, everybody.